Yeah, so good morning, everyone who are here. And also good morning to all the participants in the Zoom from everywhere. I see some of you are from all the way from Australia, which the time is totally opposite. You must be wake up at the middle of the night, maybe 1, 2 o'clock. So yeah, so I appreciate all the efforts from all of you. And we just make sure that your effort is not wasted. um, mm, make yeah. I'm sure you had an altruistic motivation to participate this session, but then here again collectively we come together to generate bodhicitta motivation for rest of our existence. Then this very life, this very year, month, week, this very day, and this very particular session to be very productive accumulations of meritorious causes for one's own temporary well-being as well as ultimate well-being up to the achieving state of full enlightenment. And that similar goes to rest of your family members and rest of the sentient being. And that also we establish on the basis of going refuge in Buddha Dharma Sangha. And those of you, if in case haven't taken refuge, then go for refuge. The pre-existing Buddha Dharma Sangha within yourself, and accumulate the causes to actualize the resultant Buddha Dharma Sangha in future times. And that way, every single moments of your effort become absolute cause of liberation, become a pure Dharma practice. Yeah, so so we do that later when we recite Guru Shakyamuni Buddha's name mantra together. But before doing so, so today, since the subject is on Mahamudra, I think the title of the topic, understanding the nature of the mind, then utilizing karma writing and Mahamudra. So Mahamudra practice especially from the tantric meditation, they are one of the most elaborate practices is 6 yogas of Naropa. So for the practice of 6 yogas of Naropa, at the initial preparation for the actual meditation, there's a purification practice and establishing the foundation of your body and mind, to to have a correct base where you can take off to, do the actual the meditation on the stages of the path. So this is a 9 rounds of breathing meditation. So it's very much simply placing your awareness to the breathing, but there's also a physical exercise that come together. I think many of you may be familiar. So maybe today I will illustrate that. So you put your finger on this one, thumb, sorry. This is, yeah, you put your thumb very much like where the nail is. press under the ring finger, this. Yeah. Then after that, completely locked. Then also rest of the fingers also bring into feet like this. Then of course, place on your knee. Then stretch the whole body. And of course, if able to, then you can also do the Vajra sitting posture. Left leg in, right leg outside. Like this Vajra crossing. If not, never mind whether you're sitting on the chair or wherever. So just simply, stretch your back up, yeah, as straight as possible. It's very much like you can feel those of the spines are like bit, not in its own actual line. It was kind of bended and try to stretch back. And also the shoulder, try to make it more wide, like how the seven Vajrayanas meditation posture similar like that. So the first one, what you do is, first exercise is quite an intense kind of like a rubbing, like kind of scratching like this, like this. You go like this and push and straight hard. It's quite force. Then the second, you move left hand like all the way there. Yeah, up to the extent of you can feel the pressure. Then the right hand put here like this. Okay, this. Yeah. Then after that, the left hand come back and like this, and put the finger up. Then you place place the finger to the right nostril, close it, then breathe lengthy out. Then place from the left, then breathe out, isn't it? In, out, in or out, or whatever. Just now is in, now it's out. Yeah, out, then in, out, 3 times. Yeah. Then after that, then just like kind of like releasing it a bit relaxed way, naturally, and again bring into peace and go all the way to the knee. Then again similar, like this, like that. Then yeah. So there's a 2 way. One is to stretch first like this, or another one is also you can do like this. So some they do like this together. Some, as I mentioned before, like this, like this, this, like this. So whichever you feel more comfortable. Then again release. Then the third one is the slowly release all the finger and the thumb like this. Relax. Then here, do 3 rounds of breathing. When you breathe out, all the fingers you raise up this. Stretch as much as you can. When you breathe in, close all the fingers and breathe out. So this is breathing in and out from both nostrils. Out, in, out, in. Okay. Okay, so now we do together. Okay, thank you. So even though it's a 9 round, even though it's just a 9 rounds, but you can do sometimes you may forget how many times you breathe in and out, and as long as it feels good, um, it helpful, then you can. And there's no particular set number you can do. And this is good to beneficial to do before any meditation that you take. And this first one is just simply placing the awareness of the breathing, and due to these mudras helps also to activate the physical chakra also, and that will also impact the mind. And then after that, you can also do another 9 rounds of breathing without doing this physical exercise, but just a breathing, or you can take along with the physical exercise of purifying the 3 poisons. First attachment, then aversion, then ignorant. Then after that, then you can carry on with your preliminary practices for your meditation, or you directly want to engage into specific meditation, such as on emptiness or daily yoga practices. They can be very beneficial. Yeah, so we recite Guru Shakyamuni Buddha's name mantra together. Then here you refresh your refuge and bodhicitta. Daya Kangi endo jene zone dawa damje bambe jire dambe jene duenze ba godam de la cha se Tony ni je zondo je be la ma ze je je kanje den je cha na be mo den zen ja so wa de zo da je jin ye what to say? Thank you. So today, for these 2 sessions, morning and afternoon session, I'm thinking to first give a short introduction to the mm, in few words as a introduction on what the nature of the mind. In maybe try to do that in one word. So then, nature of the mind and the shamatha and the Mahamudra. Then after that, then maybe go a little bit detail the definitions of very much, the meaning of what Mahamudra means. According with even this title, Chakya Chenpo, the Mahamudra. And then also go more detail to understand the detailed meaning of the nature of the mind. What exactly the fundamental mind is. Then after that we can then after that I'm thinking to go through how to take that into meditation, the using the shamatha mind and taking the Mahamudra as an object of the meditation, which is very much the title, utilizing, knowing what is the nature of the mind and utilizing shamatha and Mahamudra in the practice. So very much hopefully that this morning can cover. Then maybe afternoon I'm thinking to read through the root text on the Mahamudra, which composed by the fourth Panchen Lama, which widely used for the complete meditation as a complete meditation guide. So something like that. So the definition of the mind, which is clear and cognizant, clear by its nature is clear, and knowing or cognizing it is objects. So that is the, that if I just want to say in one word, it's something like that. Then shamatha, very much the serviceable mind. The mind which is serviceable to your direction, whether to do with meditation, whether to do with daily activities, whether to do with your emotion, having the capability to your mind to behave exactly the way, accordingly, what you wish your mind to behave. Is your mind will only think the way how you want your mind to think. So that is a shamatha. In order to achieve that, you need to overcome the falls of dullness, dull mind, falls of distracted, exciting mind. Then has to achieve the fully matured mindfulness and introspective level of your mind. And the Mahamudra is very much the definition, very much the absolute nature of all phenomena. That's the Mahamudra. Or you can also say the absolute or the absolute nature of your mind. That is the Mahamudra. mm, uh, the true being of your mind, or true being of the rest of the phenomena, and that is Mahamudra. Mm, so Maha means great or pervasive. Maha here meaning great or pervasive. Mudra means very much like the action, or seal, action or the seal. So Mahamudra means the great seal. So the pervasive seal into entire existence, self and others, mind and physical objects, is the nature of lack of inherent existence, lack of nature of substantial existence or true existence. And that is the great seal. That is the Mahamudra. That seal is pervasive because lack of inherent existent nature is absolute nature of everything. There's not even one single phenomena that you can separate, saying that, oh, this phenomena, it is absolute nature, is not lack of inherent existence or not substantial existence. And great and pervasive also can be understood. Sameness in that nature, the entire phenomena lies in the sameness. There's no differences between samsara and nirvana. There's no differences between you and others. No differences between subject and object. In the nature of emptiness, in the nature of lack of inherent existence, in the nature of this pervasive great seal, entire phenomena lies in one taste, one absolute. So that's very much meaning Mahamudra, or great seal. Then Buddhist teaching very much lies in the teachings dedicated to the two yanas, the sutra yana and the tantra yana. The sutra yana and the tantra yana. In the sutra yana, there are Hinayanic sutras, Mahayanic sutras, and in tantra yana, the tantra yana in four levels of tantra yana: Kriya tantra, action tantra, yoga tantra, Aishogya tantra. So this Mahamudra, can be divided, can be interpreted in accordance with the sutric point of view and the tantric point of view. So the sutric point of view, the Mahamudra, or the Great Seal, very much can be interpreted. The emptiness, the view on emptiness. The view on emptiness is the knowledge of Mahamudra, and realizing the wisdom that realize the lack of substantial existence, inherent existence, or true existence, and that is the path, that which is the Mahamudra path. And if this need to elaborate a little bit more, then the four great seals of the Buddhism 이제 두째 탐지 미다바 사제 탐지 동아 최 탐지 동신다. All functioning phenomena are nature of impermanent. 사제 탐지 동아 all the compounded phenomena, all the compounded phenomena in the nature of suffering. 최 탐지 동신 다음에 all phenomena are empty. And empty and selfless. The nirvana is peace. So all functioning phenomena are nature in impermanent nature. First one. All compounded phenomena are nature of suffering. Second one. Then all existence are in the nature of empty and selfless. Third one. Then nirvana is the peace. So this one from the Sutric point of view, the Great Seal, it's regarded the four Great Seal. If you want to say in one word, is the seals of emptiness nature. Here, in the four seals, very much describe the preparatory understanding to the Great Seal of the emptiness, and the emptiness itself, which is the actual part or the antidote. Then the fourth seal, emphasize the purpose or the result by actualizing the Mahamudra or by actualizing the Great Seal. So in order to realize Great Seal, the emptiness, or in order to realize the third one from the four sutric or the philosophical seals that mentioned, the empty and selfless, as a preparatory or preliminary for the practitioner, first one should realize the wisdom of impermanent. Why so? The one of the fundamental code of faults to not it falls to the wrong view of inherent existence is permanent grasping. Permanent grasping, the wrong view of permanent grasping. Permanent grasping of self as eternal, permanent grasping of the basis of the self, the aggregates, and the rest of the phenomena, as also view as a permanent, perceive as a permanent. In the first glance, every first glance of perception relating to the object is all in the view of permanent, all in the view of permanent. Then not realizing as impermanent, then the next moment onward, after the sense, after the subject related to the object, remain in the view of permanent. You see, until you realize, until through logic and reasoning, make you understand that, oh, this phenomena, or my life, my body, lies in the impermanent. Until you realize that, whatever relation, whatever experience of relation that comes about, that the subject, your awareness, your mind knowing me, I, is all become self-grasping, ignorant, self-grasping. This self-grasping ignorant, the first layer of that self-grasping ignorant is the permanent grasping of self. permanent grasping about your physical aggregates. Mm? Mm. Until, until you establish, oh, it is actually momentarily changes. Oh, it is impermanent. Until you realize that, until you talk to yourself like that, and you make you understand like that, it is a permanent grasping, and the grasping is ignorant, and that ignorance has the power to accumulate negativities, power to obstruct to realizing the path and the wisdom of emptiness, and obstruct to actualize freedom from samsara, all the problems that created by hallucination, wrong view, obstruct to achieve the nirvana, so like that, the nirvana, absolute peace. I say so. So therefore, it is so important to first know the nature of impermanence in all functioning phenomena, starting from self and rest of the phenomena. For that, just realizing the gross level of impermanence is not good enough. You need to realize the subtle impermanence. Subtle impermanence, you see. So gross impermanence, the wisdom realizing gross impermanence, just simply being aware that, before this session, you were at home, and now you drove here and you are here. That's quite easy to know, and you already had last night dinner, and now, it's almost lunchtime. It's quite obvious, but even that, for us, sometimes we don't realize that. And the person who ate last night dinner and the person who going to have a lunch later, you perceive the same person, isn't it? Here, if we ask everybody, the person last night that had dinner at your home is not you. You will sue me. You will sue me. It's how, then you start to show your passport, maybe the snapshot, the selfie shot during last night dinner. Say, how can you tell me that that's not me? And that itself is proven, how serious permanent grasping that we carry, and those are all without knowingly, all has been intense ignorant, for us to get awakened. You see, so it's so important for us to even that to be realized. Then not only that, you see, you try to be more aware of even more subtle level of impermanence. The momentarily changes, not the most subtle, but quite subtle, which is within the moment of snapping the finger. There's a 64 moments are there. So can you realize 64 moments of rapid changing that is happening in me? 64 moments of, just like that, 64 moments of death occur already in us. 64 moments of reincarnation occur in us. We died 64 times and we reborn 64 times. Can you imagine? But then we say within human life, we die only once. After 80, 100 years later only, not now. Now I still need to climb Santa Fe mountain. I only climbed 2 mountains. So I need to climb so many mountains yet. Then only maybe I may say bye-bye to next life, So, so therefore, you see, so even in relation to that, in relation to this understanding, it is one of the way for us to be free from suffering of, suffering towards facing of death. That particular death is very gross, that occurring to us. In fact, we dies every moment. You see, momentarily changes the life. That's not different than, we may say that when we really die to next life, is dead because of, we discard the human body, human aggregates. But then the previous moment of our present moment, the whatever aggregates that carry in the previous moment, we discard it. isn't it? Even scientifically can prove that previous moment, there are so many cells is dead by now. It's dead already, like skin, peel out, it's so obvious, you see. Then our mental factors also cease, you see. So the only thing is we didn't label as death and rebirth. And we thought that we are only dying that only one time, you see. So thinking about that, then when actual death comes, it's very much like the last night me and this morning's today, especially if this morning is a better time than last night, then like that, last night got some physical discomfort, diarrhea, and this morning you are completely great, then when the actual death comes, you very much like discard all the inconvenience of this all physical age, and then you just go into the next moment of life of fresh. So it's very much like that. So there's a great benefit of meditating on impermanent. There's great help, and also there's a great help to overcome day-to-day emotional sufferings, the environmental issues, problems, so then you will realize, how big problem comes in our way, you relate to them in the nature of impermanent, then you will not have that grasping of that, this, how we usually think about when the problem comes in our way, as if this problem will never go away, as if this problem is the biggest problem. And you worry for tomorrow, how I'm going to handle. But in reality, by tomorrow, the problem that you have now is already momentarily changes so much. Then in more grosser picture, it will just go away. It will never remain there forever. Even you put them into your safe box, or even you try to even mentally try to like chained by all the graspings, also you won't remain there, you will go away, isn't it? So like that. So it is like very powerful antidote to overcome day-to-day problems. Then also keep ourselves humble, in humility, practice humility. Whenever good things comes in our way, we won't have this grasping of, this will last forever, and you boast about it, you will also understand this also will change. Then it's also very powerful practice to, heart filled with love and compassion to the people around you, because knowing that, momentarily changes, even this life, the awareness, the relationship may change anytime. So when I have the relationship, when I have this family member, then this present moment, I must fully, express my love and compassion. It's so beautiful, so beautiful. Then if the relationship goes sour, and you also won't hurt too much, because you also understand this life's nature impermanent. It's so beautiful, so beneficial, So anyway, then the next is understanding all compounded phenomena as a nature of suffering. So this meaning that anything is, anything that which is infused by karma and delusion, means infused by karma, action. Anything that function in relation to your action, and which is also very much motivated by delusion, either ignorance or attachment, aversion. Then everything actualized of that is in the nature of suffering. In the nature of suffering. So our body, all the five aggregates, including mental aggregates that we carry, all are infused by karma and delusion. Therefore, it is suffering. So here we're talking about the compounded pervasive suffering. the third level of suffering. Suffering of pain, suffering of change, and pervasive compounded suffering. So, in order to liberate from samsara, we need to liberate from its causes, karma and delusion. In order to liberate from karmic cause and karma and delusion, we need to renounce that. We need to renounce the karma. We need to renounce the delusion. In order to renounce the karma and delusion, we need to understand the disadvantage of karma and delusion. And disadvantage is suffering. You see, as long as we know that as long as we engage in karma, as long as we engage in delusion, create the karma, and that will bring about the suffering. So therefore, you need an antidote towards that. The antidote to overcome. Then you engage into the actual path, which is the third seal, which is wisdom of understanding no self, wisdom of understanding of emptiness, which is empty and selfless. You see. So, so as a Buddhist practitioner, the understanding of compounded pervasive suffering is one of most crucial to the development of path. You see, so there, not only feel inconvenience of suffering or pain, but we need to also feel the inconvenience of, just the existence alone. The existence. Existence alone is inconvenient. We need to understand that, and from there, then you will. In order to not to continue this existence, then you need to stop the birth. You need to stop coming back to this existence, and that is stopping the birth. So in order to stop the birth, again, you need to stop the karma and delusion. You see. So therefore, the suffering that we experience, even from suffering of change and suffering of pain, what do you call the knowing the feeling of inconvenience from that is not something is bad from spiritual point of view. It is in fact is beneficial too, for us to understand, pain as a pain. Then on top of that, then even suffering of change also, understand as a suffering. Then more than that, then to understand the pervasive compounded suffering. You see. So, so therefore, when Buddhist meditation, the great, very very vast subject, and great amount of time that we need to meditate on the limitations of samsara, limitations of samsara. You see, and whatever good feeling comes in our way, all should be understood as a suffering of change, because it's not a true inner peace, not true happiness, because those can be result of virtue, but those are not result of dharma. Because of that, all the goodness that we experience in our life, good health, long life, prosperity, unfortunately, these are also in the nature of suffering. And because the causes that we accumulate, even though it has been virtue, but unfortunately it is not infused by genuine renunciation to karma and delusion. Because of that virtue brings limitation only to actualize temporary happiness, and which are in the nature of suffering. You see, so so therefore, how to make all our actions, all our virtuous actions, as a dharmic action, which can be cause of liberation, not just temporary happiness, but also to be cause of absolute liberation, true happiness, is whenever we perform any action like this dharma gathering action, That's why we set motivation in the beginning, like altruistic motivation. And that will make sure, all our efforts during this session, everything become not only cause of happiness of temporary and future life, but also become happiness of liberation, you see. But without the setting correct motivation, just, staying in the Dharma environment, it can be either neutral or it can be virtue. And both are not so helpful enough, not helpful enough, for our absolute happiness, you see, so like that. Then, with the genuine sense of understanding wisdom of impermanent, and understanding wisdom of suffering of samsara, it is called a karma and delusion. Then, there is, clearer path to really to make oneself understand what it really is selfless, what it really is emptiness, what it really is empty, you see. So then there you so you realize the empty, empty of inherent, you realize seven phenomena in the nature of empty of inherent. In order to make more sense of what it means by lack of inherent, then realize lack of substantial reality, lack of substantial existence, even nominally, even lacking substantial existence, even nominally, like the Sautantika Pasangika, Sautantika Madhyamika, assert the true nature of seven phenomena lies in lack of true existence, but still assert it exists in nominal substantial existence, nominally substantial existence, meaning either from the subject or from the object, there has to be substance where you can able to designate the existent, you see. But as far as concerned with the Mahamudra, absolute Mahamudra, the absolute wisdom of emptiness, that which is exactly the understanding the emptiness by like Nagarjuna, like Lama Tsongkhapa. Buddha's ultimate intent is things exist, self and phenomena exist merely labeled in mind, merely labeled in word, merely, this merely, that's directly antidote to overcome the flow in assertion of the absolute view of emptiness by Sautantika Madhyamika, the very next earlier school to the Pasangika Madhyamika, you see. So so merely, so that's why you say everything exists merely labeled by mind, merely labeled by mind. That also negates the Chittamatra's viewpoint of asserting the emptiness. So for the Chittamatran, mind-only school, nothing exists externally. Nothing exists externally by its own sight. Everything exists by product of your mind. Everything exists ripening of your mental imprint. Everything is projection of your mind. But mind-only school or Chittamatra, not there to say everything exists merely label of the mind. But the Pasangika Madhyamika, say merely everything exists merely labeled by mind. So the Chittamatran and the Pasangika Madhyamika sounds like similar. Sounds similar, but there's a huge difference. The differences here is Chittamatra mind-only school the basis that bring actualization of all phenomena is the mind. But that mind, without being true existent, cannot establish existence. So mind has to be true existent. You see, mind has to be solid base that which carry the quality of having substance, having the quality of inherent substance, and that which is very much meaning the true existent mind. If the mind does not exist substantially or in true existence, then mind won't have a potential to bring about the rest of the external existence or rest of the phenomena. You see, so therefore it's mainly labeled by mind. So what the Nagarjuna would emphasize, negate specifically Saudandika Madhyamikas is the asserting of substantial, nominally substantial existence, also negates rest of the earlier view. You see, so therefore, since things exist in the Mahamudra understanding, since things exist merely labeled by mind, then everything, self and phenomena, not only lacking of substantial existence, it also lacking of true existence. Not only lacking of true existence, it's also lacking of dualistic existence. Not only lacking of dualistic existence, it also lacking of permanent existence, or independent existence, autonomical existence. You see, so that's how the presentation of the four Buddhist philosophical school be so beneficial to establish the absolute Mahamudra or absolute emptiness view that according with the Nagarjuna, So, so that's why, as I mentioned before, realizing the impermanent nature, it serves as a preliminary to realize the actual path, the emptiness. It's because one of the core of the negation is actually permanent grasping. So that layer has to be peeled out. You see, so in order to get to the absolute Mahamudra, the absolute emptiness wisdom, then first you peel out all the wrong view that which asserted by the and according with the Buddhist philosophy, all the false philosophers, all the false philosophers, sometimes it is not, I feel uncomfortable to say all the non-Buddhists, So even in the Buddhists, there are so many false philosophers. So not just non-Buddhists. So that in non-Buddhist philosophy, obviously, there's a tradition of, like Atma as a permanent, the fundamental mind, or which is also regarded as a life as a permanent. You see, so so first you clear this, is we call takchik rawaching tongwa. So dogme, subless, the minimum as a Buddhist we need to get to realize minimum, to carry a correct view, not necessarily the absolute emptiness, but at least a correct view of wisdom. So takchik rawaching tongwa. Like self is empty of being permanent. Self is empty of being takchik, non-dependent. Self is free. Self is free of existing non-dependently. Means has to depend on cause and condition. Then self is also free of lacking of nomically what you call autonomically existing. You see, then self is also so permanent, lacking of existence, or being lacking of existence, or permanently, autonomically, and independently. Then there you establish interdependent arising self. You see, interdependent arising self. You see, so all the Buddhist four schools, the meaning of their own individual Mahamudra is interdependent arising. The nature of interdependent arising, or meaning of selfless, because the earlier school they don't really pronounce the word of emptiness. They pronounce of selfless. You see, so it's very much meaning the emptiness. So if you happen to ask, such as Bashubandhu, who is one of the main master to the Abhidhamma text, the Abhidhamma treatise, which very much base sutra for the Vaibhasika schools, and sutra follower schools. If you happen to ask them what is the absolute meaning, if in one word, what is the absolute meaning of selfless? And the answer will be meaning dependent arising, interdependent arising. Then if you progress to the Chittamatra, Chittamatran school, the self exists, lacking self exists only in the projection of your mind or arising of your mental imprint. The self lacking of self lacking of it is true existence by its own side. So therefore, then so therefore, self exists lacking of dualistic existence. So if you have to ask question, what do you mean by self lacking of dualistic existence? Again, Chittamatran, like Asanga, they will give an answer saying, oh, it means interdependent arising. It's the same answer. And then if you go to the Saudantika Madhyamika, there are many great masters, such as certain philosophers school assert, like Buddha Palita, even though some school assert as he's a Saudantika, but some assert is Pasankika, but mostly assert as a Saudantika. So again, self exists, lacking self exists, lacking of true existence, but then self existing, lacking of true existence, but self exists legitimately on the basis of nominical substance. So therefore, self exists, but self do not exist. Self do not exist truly. Then they say, what do you mean? What do you mean self exists legitimately? Lacking true existence. What do you mean by that? And say, oh, that means self exists interdependent arising. So again, the same answer, same word. You see. Then you go to ask Nagarjuna, it's Pasangika Madhyamika, Nagarjuna, Chandrakirti, Buddha Palita, you ask them, self do not exist inherently. Self exists merely labeled by mind. And self legitimately exists. Really, there is a self, existing self, but which exists in a merely label of the mind or merely in the name. He said, then what do you mean by that? They say, oh, that self, the existing, legitimately existing self, exists interdependently arising. Therefore, it's a legitimately existing. Therefore, it exists lack of inherently. If its nature is existing inherent, then cannot be existing interdependent. You see, so same answer, but all different meaning. The meanings are from gross to profound. You see, so yeah. So anyway, so the point here is, if you know the presentations of selflessness or emptiness of the fourth school, and then it can be very helpful by negating layer by layer. Eventually, you get to clear understanding of the absolute empty of inherently existing self and phenomena. Otherwise, just throw the word called self is lack of inherent existence. What do you mean? Yeah, you may give the answer, interdependent arising. And say, what do you mean by that? Means lack of inherent existence. So can you further explain? And say, interdependent existence, depend on cause and condition, yes, that's true, but still not really kind of like clarifying, the actual meaning of what do you mean by, lack of inherent existence. First of all, what do you mean by inherently existent? Can you elucidate that clearly? And the way to elucidate clearly is to presenting the negation that asserted by the earlier philosopher schools. So when you clear the layer by layer, those are the meaning what it mean by. So if self exists permanent in permanent nature, then self is inherent existing. If self existing autonomically, that also meaning self is inherent existing. If self is existing non-dependent on it is cause and condition, that also meaning self is inherent existing. If self exists dualistically, that also meaning inherent existence. Self-existing substantially, that also meaning lack of that also meaning inherent existence. So then now you say, I see, lack of inherent existence means no of this, and yes, all of this, and that is being legitimate, interdependent, arising self or the I, something like that. So anyway. So when you realize, so that is the ultimate nature, the seal that attached to all the existence, and that seals of in the nature of being in emptiness never changes. From the past to the future, is all pervasive, all pervasive. So that's why I call Mahamudra. You see. So when you achieve that, then all the negation, ignorance, all the delusions and the ignorance and defilements will be overcome. And when you overcome that, you achieve nirvana. And nirvana is peace. That's fourth one, isn't it? Nirvana is peace. So even you achieve little nirvana, that also peaceful. If you achieve slightly greater one, that also much more peaceful. Then if you achieve the greatest nirvana, which is state of full enlightenment, wow, then that is the maximum, the greatest and the most lasting, everlasting peace. You see, and those are real. Those are definite. And one day, every single living being going to achieve that. Therefore, it is a seal. It's a great seal. It's not just only some people will achieve, some people will not achieve. No, from here you can also prove samsara going to be end one day. Samsara is not a permanent. Samsara going to finish one day. So it's very uplifting to know that. And and from here we can see how important it is to realize emptiness, because that makes possible of end of the samsara, that makes possible of the greatest liberation, so like that. So this from the sutric point of view, the Mahamudra or the great seal. So from tantric point of view, the Mahamudra is referring to the wisdom of clear light. Is the wisdom of clear light. So the wisdom of clear light, it is also natural to all living beings. The clear light is natural to all living beings. And wisdom of clear light is possible for all living beings. There's not even one being will never achieve the wisdom of clear light. No, you see. So therefore, it is also called as a great seal, or the Chagya Chembo. So and when you realize when you actualize the clear light, the natural clear light, even in the event of one lifetime's journey, when you conclude the human life journey, before you task it, before you even actualize the intermediate state to the next life, there's a natural occurrence of clear light to everybody. It's a natural occurrence of clear light to everybody. Then that natural clear light is very much, it is the same, the natural state of emptiness. Same natural state of the absolute mind, the absolute nature of the mind, is void of all graspings. It is luminous. It has the capability of cognizing all phenomena, like the omniscient does. It is vast, pervasive, like the space, like the omniscient mind, So, is the matter is, how great benefit that you're able to utilize during the natural clearer experience is very much how well you have the training in your lifetime. You see, if you have the greatest training, you actualize Dharmakaya there. Means you become Buddha there. When you realize the absolute Buddha being within yourself, when you realize directly the Dharmakaya within, the pre-existing Dharmakaya in a fully awakened state, there you become enlightened in Dharmakaya. You see, and the many yogics, many Mahasiddhas, of India or Tibet have done that, and for that, without training through Tantra, no way to reach there. So that has to be done only, training on Tantra. And of course, that tantric capability has to be based on the common path, the sutric, sutric way of understanding of the Mahamudra, and realizing the Mahamudra accordingly, to the sutric, practice, like realizing direct realization on wisdom and emptiness, that needed in order to achieve the most effective tool from the tantric training to actualize the clear light into Dharmakaya, when we go through the transition, death. You see, so there are many trigger points in Tantra to make possible of actualizing clear light into Dharmakaya. But one of the common tool is having practice in generation and completion stage of the Tantra, especially, into those practices that main training is focus on clear light, like such as from the tantric deity, Heruka Chakra Sambhara, Guya Samaja. Even comparing to Yamentaka is more illusory. Even though Yamentaka also carry all the practice of clear light and illusory, but more focus on illusory. Like Chakra Sambhara and Guya Samaja is more focus on clear light. Even though it also has the tools of like what do you call the illusory body. You see, so therefore, if you see one of the deity, especially in the Gelug tradition, which very much Lama Tsongkhapa utilized. He utilized all these three great deities, but you see, for the clear light, then mainly based on Guya Samaja and Chara Samvara. Then training in their sadhana practices, the generation and completion stage. By training so, then you come to a point that there's a saying, Mabutepa is like mother meeting the son. Throughout the lifetime, you train in the sadhana, the generation and completion stage. Then when you go through the death process, then when the natural born, the natural born, the mother of all the realization, including Buddhahood, will be meet with the son, which is your lifetime training that you actualize it, and you meet, there you meet the son and mother. It's like called the Mabuteva, So one of the best tool is, like structured tool and symbol, not like the. Of course, the sadhana has a preliminary practice and completion practice, and there are so many practices included. Of course, that is to accumulate merit, purification, etc., etc. But actual lamplight, that you can use along the path of the journey approaching to the clear light is the death process. The meditation on death process. The dissolutions of the four elements, earth to wind elements, then dissolutions of the 80 conceptual thoughts, then the dissolution of the white appearance, red appearance, and black near appearance, then clear light. So these are very clear, in the text, you see. And when you get some commentary onto it, then just take into a daily meditation. First, intellectually well understood. Then after that, you gain some, steady wisdom of those process. Then after that, then try to train in absorption meditation, even though we are not dying, but as if we are dying, as if that your concentration is so deep. The meditative concentration, meditative absorption is so deep that you're able to reach, experience very much similar, not exact, but very much similar to the actual experience of natural clear light. So therefore, in tantric tool, like using, there are many tools, so some of the tools, in order to elaborate, one need to have a high tantric initiation. Then you go through detail. Once you explore detail, it's in one way it's very clear like that. So, but now another important thing is here, shamatha. Without the shamatha mind, you won't achieve quality absorption meditation. So there, you see, without the shamatha mind, you won't able to achieve. You see, even all the technique, you may able to do good analytical meditation. You may able to do some glimpse of reflecting meditation on the process and according with the text, but you will not able to engage into absorption meditation, which is must require, because absorption state of the mind is a subtle mind. Okay, nothing dependent on conceptual mind. We need to go beyond conceptual meditation. Definitely, even just to reach to the conceptual meditation, we need to go beyond reliance on the external kind of objects, or an external mind, like such as sensual mind. We do meditation by looking, open our eye and looking at the deity and try to stay focused. That's not good enough. That's far away, not good enough. Or you hear the teaching and try to just remember the teaching and try to contemplate, not good enough at all. This is very, very baby step, very initial step, You see, you have to train until, okay, now certain conceptual capability, which is still conceptual mind, but not this gross sensual mind. You see, it's like next level of the sensual mind. When you go to more conceptual, you see, it's more like a mental picture now here. What I mean is a mental picture. Okay, you do meditation on the deity, based on the mental picture, not this sensual picture. You see, so in order to reach there, you need to do a quite degree of meditation, to reach to that kind of steady image, for mental to gain mental picture. You see, and that mental picture is whether it is elaborate or whether it's a singularity, but it has to be the meditative wisdom. Still has to be a wisdom of meditation. It's not a wisdom of intellectual knowledge. You have to have the wisdom of meditation, and that wisdom of meditation is more of the, the step that you achieve after analytical meditation, a certain absorption meditation. But that absorption meditation is not qualified to be the real absorption meditation, which we are, talking about requirement for the clear light. For that, really need to get into deep meditation. And in order to do that, we need to use the shamatha mind. Without using shamatha mind, all going to be meditative absorption, but not the meditative absorption which can be qualified to use for actualizing the benefit of the clear light. Okay, so first of all, we need to achieve shamatha. So, of course, we have this shamatha classes in more detail, so you can refer to that. And of course, there are so many scriptures, but just to say in a few words, the shamatha has to be achieved. The quality shamatha, you have to achieve the 9 level of the concentrational mind. That training through the from the first level, the 9 stages of the shamatha mind. You very much need to achieve absolute stable state of fluency, both mind and body, through overcoming all the faults, like the Maitreya described, the 5 faults, or in short, the faults of laxity and excitement. Very much you overcome arising of delusion, not necessarily completely purify the delusion, but when you achieve the level of shamatha, you overcome arising it. It doesn't mean purified, but it's still there in the system, but it doesn't bother you by arising, bringing impact to you. You see, so so therefore, yeah. So that is the like laxity, including ignorant, excitement, including like subtle attachment, subtle aversion. And all these delusions has to be absolute suppression in your system of arising it in order to achieve the shamatha. Then you see, and that has to be achieved, through the application of correct antidote. Again, Maitreya described in Mahayana Sutra the 8 antidotes. Application of 8 antidotes we discussed in the shamatha class. You see, then that also need to be actualized with the conducive conditions of six forces and 4 attentions, as we discussed in the shamatha class. And with that method, when you achieve shamatha, then as a practitioner now in lifetime, not using any meditative object, then the Mahamudra, the wisdom of realizing absolute nature of the mind. That's Mahamudra. Wisdom realizing absolute nature of the mind. So, in other words, placing your absorption meditation training on the absolute nature of your mind, nothing else. Not even focusing on absolute nature of phenomena, not focusing on absolute nature of something else. the focusing completely on the absolute nature. It's very like kind of transparent, very, very one-pointed, just being in the empty of absolute grasp, empty of all graspings, and clear cognizing state of your mind, pervasive, that kind of quality mind. You're placing your concentration, your absorption meditation in that. It's very much just simply being in absolute in the awareness of your mind, but then awareness in your mind as a meditation, but there's no other object than that awareness itself. So there's no separate object to be meditated other than the being absolute aware of the absolute nature of the mind, as if it's almost impossible to differentiate the meditation object and the meditation subject. It's almost like in distinction, it's distinguishable like that kind of manner. So when you achieve steady observation meditation on Mahamudra, then when we pass away, through the death process, even before that, even you realizing that now you are dying, then you stick on that meditation. Then you carry on throughout the dissolution. That's so steady that even when you lose your mind, even when you lose your entire gross memory, brain is dead, like clinically pronounced dead, but still you are lively in meditation. Like many of these great masters, they go into Tuktam. Many of the tantric masters being in Tuktam is in this state, being in Mahamudra, absorption meditation. Then when they reach to the clear light, they go through all the process of the four element dissolution. Nothing can ever to disturb them because they achieved the shamatha before. Nothing. Because of, if you didn't achieve the shamatha, if you are not using the serviceable shamatha mind to go into meditative absorption, then when you go through the death process, delusion will arise. The conceptual obstacle, hallucination will arise. The death process are nothing more than conceptual hallucination. Nothing more than hallucination. So you see, the purpose of achieving shamatha is to able to overcome the disturbances, whether it's dullness, ignorance, or whether it's to do with the other negative emotional attachment, aversion. Everything will be pass or excuse. Can say that. Will not bother. Then so that you can able to carry, to the most subtle state of meditation. When you go through anti-conceptual dissolution, it's a natural. It will come to you. When you really go detail, it's like very, very scary. It's almost like you won't able to stay focused at all. You see, like first dissolution, like earth element dissolution, earth dissolving into like water element, dissolve into the previous to the latter. There's just dissolving earth element to the water element. The hallucinational disturbance is so intense. Like an example, like the person, just give a very light example. The actual, the traumatizing kind of disturbing hallucination is far more, is almost like there's no word to describe. It's like entire mountain is like collapsing on you. Like you are like kind of squeezed in between, two Mount Meru, smashing it like that, like making Indian spices in between the two rock, like that, So when you have this hallucinational, like this is like happening like real, even though it's hallucination, but can you imagine, can you able to stay concentrated on meditation? Not possible, isn't it? So now when the winning element dissolves, entire your memory is completely gone. Brain is completely dead. And how to remember the meditation if you don't have the subtle, absorption meditation, using the most subtle state of mind, which is shamatha mind. Without using that, then you will be completely blank. Then worse than that, conceptual dissolution is all a hallucinational view. The most intense disturbances in relation to different delusions that comes in our way. You see. Then after that, worse, even more subtle. When the white appearance comes, it's like completely blank into white. When red appearance comes, completely blank into red. When the near black appearance comes, completely kind of like darkness, like shut down in everything. It's like the darkest night that you cannot even see your finger, right in front of you like that. The darkest night. You see, and that is not just external one. Like internally, your minds are apprehending that. And that time, how to remember the meditation? You won't able to remember any meditation, isn't it? You see, those are very subtle. Those are very subtle mind that experiencing it. But it is not more subtle than the shamatha. So therefore, if you meditate on shamatha, using the shamatha mind, you still can carry on. Then when the clear light occur, the meditation that you did, throughout on the absolute nature of the mind and the experience, of course, during the observation meditation on the nature of the mind, also you already experience the voidness of grasping. It's like kind of absolute vast, free, like sense of like fluency, sense of like, in other words, like the union of bliss and void that which we always talk about is really, you already feel the taste. But when actual clear light, without any force, come into your way, it's like this, like that's it, like loose cap for certain thing, and you brought the cap, then the loose, and you just like that. I don't know what kind of a good example. I have no idea what example. I lose this one, like this, So you're like this, like yeah, there's no more, no, here, little bit, not even a 1 inch, like, like just like that, So this is also like the son meeting the mother. So there the son meet the mother, son been putting a lot of effort, to long lost most beloved mother, and there you just, that's it, then give a big hug, and that is the where the natural clear light is occur. Then the most purified practitioner, most accumulated merit, throughout lifetime. Then with this tool of meditation, then you actualize the Dhammakaya. You become Buddha. You see, if not, maybe the medium kind of this practitioner, at least you realize wisdom and emptiness directly. If you have not realized, there you realize wisdom and emptiness directly, because there's no other experience than actual natural clear light experience of what it means by realizing wisdom and emptiness. You see, so the meditation you have done correctly, now it makes sense in actual fact. Actual fact, in the past, I learned certain technique and I meditated. I feel it, but I don't know how to describe in the word. But now there you say, oh yes, this is it. Oh, I see, this is it. What it means by void is, this is it. What it means by bliss, this is it. What it means by union of bliss and void, oh, this is it. Like, the meditation, meditate. Oh, then you just continue, completely observe into meditation, depend on 1 minute, 2 minutes, or 1 day, 2 days, then some master, they even remain weeks, and then based on their training lifetime, they achieve the result. So direct realization on wisdom and emptiness, is so beneficial already. Like you have achieved the like very much the Arya state of capability to overcome defilements. Then, if you haven't, if you are not even up to that, then you will at least realize the conceptual realizations on emptiness. It's very much like those of the ordinary Bodhisattva. Have the capability of wisdom of emptiness, like very much like that level. You realize, If not, at least you're able to establish intense imprint on wisdom of emptiness, and the accumulate immense of causes for dharmakaya, to actualize dharmakaya. Then you go through the intermediate state period. Then there again, if in case your training is good in whatever level, if you are in case unable to achieve those purposes during the clear light, then you have another chance, like during the intermediate state. You can choose to live for 49 days, which is 7 opportunity to go through that process. And all the death process that experience in the intermediate state is the subtle one. So again, very subtle, because intermediate state being there's no physical body like what we have. Those experiences only go through the just a mental state. Even though dissolution of earth element, all this happens, but is in very much the mental experiences. There's no physical body to go through that. But then each death in intermediate state, the clear light occurrence is the same, and you again utilize your meditation capability to actualize clear light there. You see, so if unable to, then at least you will definitely secure better future life. Then you can able to train again there, and most of the failure, unable to utilize these benefits is due to lacking of merit. Due to lacking of merit and purification practices. So therefore, when you look at the Mahamudra teachings, this big word is actually talking about emptiness or clear light, but then most of the teachings is about preliminary practice. Preliminary practices, like including of the like the 7 limb practices, Guru Yoga practices, especially the major Ngondo practices are emphasized greatly, is to accumulate merit. So it's a failure very much comes from lacking of merit, you see. Also like that. Okay, now we have only 15 minutes. See whether I can keep up with my word. Okay, maybe we just based on text. Okay, I'll just read this. It's a various meaning of the Tibetan term Chakya Chempo, Mahamudra. So Chakya Chempo, Chakya or the mudra did not simultaneously seal or the mudra or sign. Just as a seal leaves its impression on other objects, so the Chakya Chempo Mahamudra, the ultimate reality, leaves its imprint upon all realities of samsara and nirvana. So whatever, the brief introduction that I shared before. So when read through it, you try to relate. You see. You see, all realities are marked with the seal of Tathagata. You see, so the Tathagata here in one way, you can understand as a Buddha nature, but in another way, understand the nature of the absolute nature of reality, emptiness. Because if this refer to Buddha nature, then this phenomena like flower does not carry Buddha nature. You see, only living being carry Buddha nature, isn't it? But then Tathagata, you interpret the absolute reality of all phenomena, the emptiness, then is pervasive, both the living being as well as the environment. It is the seal of suchness, which is inseparable from all realities and remain impervious to discernment, penetration, like that. It is neither move over or movement. Hence, cannot be moved by the universe of being, celestial, semi-celestials, and humans. It is a seal of Tathagata, that Buddha nature. Here it's Buddha nature. Buddha nature is unknown. So if you just relate to a living being, then it's talking of Buddha nature, which is all pervasive to all sentient beings. And as mentioned earlier, that make the possibility of entire numberless sentient being can be actualized Buddhahood and free from all the samsara. So samsara can be end. There is an end of samsara. If you ask a question, is there a moment that samsara will be empty? Yes. It is a seal of complete emptiness, complete singleness, complete aspirationalness, complete compositionless, desirelessness, and suchness. So these are the very much meaning of Chagyachim. It is a real purity and the seal of inner space. Chembo Maha means the Chembo Mahamudra, the Maha means the supreme deity. Then if you relate to the Tantra, the depictive form of the great is referring to Guya Samaja, like that, or Guya Siddhi. It originated from the highest Tantra, the fourth division of the Vajrayana system. It will bring about the perfect enlightenment. It is the meditation of the Mahamudra which stand unsurpassed by anything. So it is also referring to the from the Buddhist four philosophical school that I mentioned before, referring to the South Pasangika Madhyamika's emptiness view. So Chembo, the great, from tantric point of view, is a clear light. Also the main practice of such as Guya Samaja and Chakrasambhara, the clear light practice. Then the depictive form of what is the great is like the great deity, like the Yugi Jalbo, like Sawandupa, like Guya Samaja, like that. Then from the general path, Suti point of view, then is referring to the highest, the final view on emptiness, which presented, in according with the Nagarjuna's treatise, Nagarjuna philosophy. Then there's certain other texts like Mahamudra, Laga. So certain texts also comment. As regard to the Chagya Chembo, Chak stand for awareness of emptiness. So Chagya Chembo, the mudra, the first word mudra, in Tibetan, the mudra is Chagya. So it's just the first letter stand for awareness of emptiness. Chak. Ya signifies it is intrinsic quality that stand existential duality. Ya signifies the intrinsic quality of lacking of dualistic existence. Chembo, the great, symbolize the union of the two. So there's also such interpretation, you know. So when you realize emptiness, then you realize chakya. You actualize the union, the wisdom, realize the absolute nature. So Guya Samaja, the Guya Samaja said for the nature of the ultimate reality, Mahamudra. Yeah, okay, it is devoid of all substance, devoid of subject-object duality that arises from the physiological aggregates, elements, sense faculties. This is selflessness of reality, in which samsara and nirvana are occur. So it's talking about the emptiness nature. A true seeker unifies skillful means and wisdom. Through the highest meditation, he become one with the Mahamudra. So the true seeker, the true practitioner, unifies the skillful means, which refer to shamatha, the wisdom of emptiness. And through the highest meditation, referring to not just ordinary meditation as we discussed before, it has to be absorption meditation. He become one with the Mahamudra. Then you actualize the full benefit of the Mahamudra, like that. As mentioned before, the best training will actualize Dhammakaya, then direct realization of emptiness, then at least conceptual realization of emptiness. So like that. Then Kalachakra Tantra was emphasized. Chakya Chenpo stand for wisdom gone beyond, which has produced Tathagata in the past, does so at present, and will do so in the future. Then there's another meaning. Chakya means non-abiding nirvana or immeasurable bliss, the union of great bliss and emptiness. Hence, it surpassed the real of a mystical performance. Mystical performance, the karma mudra, the seal of the transcending awareness. So surpass the, so it surpassed all the the karma yoga practices. So it's like that. So Chenpo, the great is so designated because it is unsustained by the physic sentiment of samsara. Then Gambova, one of the, I think I also thought to mention about the lineage where this teaching, one of the lineage holder of this Mahamudra teaching practice, like Gambova, then like Milarepa, then the Marba. Marba is one of the first Tibetan master who traveled to India, then rely on few times and long time with the Naropa, then actualize transmission of all these Mahamudra teachings. So as far as concerned in the India, then of course the teaching can trace all the way back to like such as Naropa, Nagarjuna, then Masita Saraha, then all the way up to the Vajapani, Manjukosha, Chenrezig, and all the way up to Buddha Vajradhara. So even the historical Buddha, he transmitted this teaching in relation, this teaching very much, the reincarnations of the Manjukosha and Chenrezig, then later, like such as the Masita Saraha, and including of the Nagarjuna, carry this lineage and pass to the Tibetan masters, and up to today, the master from all the four great Tibetan Buddhist tradition, hold this lineage. So Gamboba says that Chak Yachembo, Chak stand for the realization that all appearances and actualities, samsara and nirvana, actualities, samsara and nirvana are not separate from their unborn void nature. So Chak is, the realizations of the absolute nature in oneness, in all existence, including samsara and nirvana. Ya stand for the primal purity that encompasses everything, perception and possibilities. The prevails of this, in all phenomena, that purity. Chembo, the great, stand for the realization that freedom is inherent in the true nature of reality. So then, Lama Silingba, who also hold this lineage, one of great Indian master. Then of course Lama Atisha, also carry this lineage. Then Lama Atisha is one of the Guru Mitripa, Maitri Yogic, also one of the main lineage holder of Mahamudra. So here the Silingba says that regarding the definition of Chak Yachembo, Chak signifies the spontaneous dissolution of defiled thoughts and deeds, and the blending of the mind with the ultimate state of simplicity, Dharmakaya. So, like that. Then, Ya signifies the power of this state, which cannot be overcome by the perceptive map of duality. Chembo, the great, stand for the superior level of this system over all other vehicles of transmitting the teaching, whether they are the vehicle of metaphysical dialectic or the esoteric vehicle of the external performance and of physical and mental performance. So, for me, this Silingba's presentation is, like so close to what, so close to, what we usually try to understand and practice. For me, I find this is like very, there may be so many different meanings, but especially this one, I read one more time. So maybe this is something good to like carry on our understanding and try to understand what really Chak Yachembo means, or the great, the Mahamudra means. Chak signifies the spontaneous dissolutions of defile through the deeds. Signifies the spontaneous dissolution of defile thought and deeds. Defile thought and deeds, dissolutions of defile thoughts and deeds, called Chak. So Chakya, the mudra, Chak, very much the training that bring about purifications of the defile in relation to thoughts and deeds. So that's what really bring the benefit from practicing Mahamudra. Ja signifies the power of this state, which cannot be overcome by the perceptive map or duality. Even how dualistic we may be, how hallucinated we may be, how much we try to fix, like even modern science, uh, and some mysterious smart people try to fix the absolute reality of the existence. No one can ever fix it. No one ever to fix it. No one ever to find. No one ever to fix it. No one ever to find some other ultimate reality. And then the emptiness nature of the emptiness nature, not other than emptiness nature. Nothing. No one can ever establish something else. You see. So therefore, even for the like even from Buddhist philosopher, the earlier philosophers, and especially those who have not even those philosophers has a long way to establish the real absolute practice on the path. Then in general, those great logicians and great philosophers or great scientists or great intellect human beings, until you establish the emptiness nature of phenomena, and try to get the answer of reality, we'll never find reality. We will never get to the actual reality, absolute reality. You see, even the philosophers, or even like Buddhist philosophers, the earlier ones established certain stand, but then when the next philosopher comes in, you have to pass. Like a science, today there's an unbelievable scientists make establishment. This is the absolute reality. This is it. But then another smarter guy comes in and say, okay, bye-bye, and you move on. So the emptiness reality is absolute, because it is sameness in the past and the present and future. It is the sameness. It is sameness, and it is innate being, innate existence. Ever. You see. So so that is not a creation of human smart mind. It is reality of its own being. So therefore, until we realize that, we continue to create problem. Like the science. How much facility they bring up there are certain benefits, but there are also a lot of inconvenience that creates. Isn't it? Because of advanced science, these weapons. Can you imagine? If there's no science, I think I think ordinary normal human being, without relying on science, I think won't able to create such destructive weapons. I believe. In the past, there's a lot of fightings, but it's all has to use their feet and their hands and their handmade staffs. How much you can destroy with that. Now it's like in one moment you can destroy whole world. One moment you can kill thousands of people, millions of people. You see. So those are mistake. You can say mistake of not understanding absolute reality. They thought that is the reality. That is the absolute reality. And that will able to bring changes to the world. But then the actual, this stand from the Mahamudra. Until you realize Mahamudra, you cannot change the world. You won't able to change the world to better. You see. So even for a practitioner, until you realize Mahamudra, then how many different sort of practices that you carry, won't make much progress, differences in your practice. You see. Even how many knowledge you learn, how many philosophy you understand, how many retreat you have done. There's some benefit, getting more knowledge and some purification, some accumulation merit, but really impacting to the path, it's a long way. When you realize Mahamudra, then you really found the complete path. the whole thing, the real, real thing, that you don't have to kind of divide in many different sessions, many different kind of practices like that. See, so in Sutri point of view, without realizing emptiness, in fact, we have not realized path without realizing emptiness. And how much teaching we do, how much teaching we receive. If the teacher unable to deliver the teaching on emptiness, if the student unable to receive and understand emptiness, you haven't received whole Buddha Dharma. You haven't received the actual Dharma. You see, so Buddha's 84,000 teaching is intended to teach the emptiness. All the preliminary practices, all the sutra and tantra, whatever amazing practice out there, all for the reasons to teach the teaching on Mahamudra emptiness, and to realize, to make the cost to realize the emptiness, and cause and condition to actualize clear light into Dharmakaya. Chambo stands for the superior level. Yeah, so this is not, this is understood. Whatever just said, is the supreme, supreme view, supreme practice, supreme Dharma, and most powerful, most effective Dharma practice. Okay, then that's it. So later maybe we'll talk a little bit about the nature of the mind. Then after that, I think it will be okay. So better go for lunch. Otherwise we have to eat Mahamudra meal. Oh yes, thank you. Okay, we do the food offering, and those of you who supposed to go to sleep, we will dedicate our food for you in your dream. Omo ahum, omo ahum, omo ahum. Lama zangye, lama je, deje, lama gendende, gunje jebo lama, lama namla je bai. Thank you, Tujiche.